Hey guys, Dave Schmitz, ResistanceBandTraining.com, coming to you from the floor. Well, in reality, I'm going to demonstrate a stretch, a mobilization of the ankle that I think has been lost over the past several months, maybe over the past year, only because I don't demonstrate it as frequently in the blog. But I want to take you through it because I think it has specific merit to those people, especially the older population like myself, where the Achilles tendon is starting to get a little bit challenged and a little bit more tight, and is just not as mobile and as conducive to handling explosive exercises. Therefore, it's critical that you maintain good ankle mobility so you don't overload that Achilles tendon. So I want to take you through how I mobilize my ankle using a single band. I'm just going to go ahead and use a red band here, and what I like to do is I like to take the band and I like to place it on my foot. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just loop it over top. In the past, I've shown you how to link it by taking it, wrapping it around an additional time. You're welcome to go ahead and do that. However, if you maintain tension on the band at all times and you apply the band directly to the ball of your foot and the little toe, as you see, the angle of the band that I have applied on here is coming at a little bit of an angle. It's not straight across on my foot, so I'm a little bit of an angle. The key also is make sure that opposite foot gets positioned underneath the calf to make sure the heel is off the ground. Now I'm going to pull back, and once I pull back, the band is going to lock onto my shoe, so it's very difficult for it to slide off. The problem is people get it too high up on their foot, or they don't keep tension on the band, and therefore subsequently the band moves. You're going to pull back on the links, or if you can't create enough tension with that, I just like to grip the band and work it pressing down. Now, proprioceptively, you want to be pressing with the big toe. That's why I need the band applied to the base of my big toe so that as I push down, I can feel myself pressing against that. The first stretch I'm going to do is just a simple plantar flexion, dorsiflexion stretch to go ahead and get my calf warmed up. From there, I'm going to link the band around my right knee. Subsequently, you can see how that's going to bring my ankle around, so I can go ahead and do eversion training. Now, eversion, I think, is a huge exercise, especially if you have a lot of ankle weakness or you need a lot of subtalar joint mobilization or mobility. The key here is make sure that foot stays pointed straight up and down, and that you're going and always pushing against the band with the outside of your little toe. So that's what I'm focused on pushing against right there. I'm also going to go ahead and make sure this band stays very tight along the right side so it really mobilizes my ankle into that inversion movement pattern so I can work eversion resistance-wise very effectively. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that if I keep myself in this inversion position and I work dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, I start to create a more perineal stabilization with inversion or with plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. So what I do is I keep the inversion force coming through this band. However, I'm going to perform plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to make me have to push off my big toe more aggressively. It's going to make me have to invert my foot just slightly to keep it neutral, which is going to engage my perineal muscles and make them stabilize while I'm working in the sagittal plane of motion doing plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. I think that's a subtle movement pattern and a subtle positioning of the band when you're working with the ankle that's very important to go ahead and incorporate. Now, do I work eversion? You're welcome to go ahead and work inversion resistance-wise by pulling back on the band and going ahead and just working inversion. However, I will say that plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, eversion are the real key ones. The other one that you may be familiar with is a simple Achilles tendon stretch. You're welcome again to go ahead and do that one as well, but I find that one is not nearly as important as the first two that I showed you. So there you go. Mobilize your ankle. Take a couple of minutes. Make sure you mobilize that ankle and loosen it up. It's going to help you not only get into your workouts much more effectively, and especially if you're doing running workouts, you want to make sure that ankle is well mobilized before you get going.